It's time for our Tuesday edition of Elko Live here on KELK, and we're so pleased to close out the year because we're going to do a little catch-up and a little look ahead with Jan Baum, our Elko city manager, just to kind of take us into the new year. Jan, thank you so much for joining us, and it's kind of a busy week, even though it's a bit of a lull. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Everybody's trying to finish up and, get things closed up before the end of the year and prepare for next year. So, I thought it would be slower than it is.
Definitely. Well, we do have a lot to reflect on because, again, the city has been busy, but there is a lot of accomplishment to celebrate, Jan, and I thought we could kind of start off with that and then give us a little preview as to what we're looking forward to in the new year. And tops on the list, I think, are some of the accomplishments at the Elko Regional Airport.
Yes, that's the Elko Regional Airport has had a busy year, and it's exciting, though. We started out the year with a schedule that wasn't so great, and now we have our return overnight and the larger plane, the CRJ 900 with 76 passengers. That is much more comfortable as well, and also the improved scheduling in Salt Lake to where we it's easier for them to make the connection to come into Elko at night, and it also comes into the A gate. And so, yes, they've had a lot of change, and it's been a struggle since COVID, but I think we're seeing some of the light. And then we're also, we have the Flight Alliance of Northeastern Nevada formed, which is FAN, and actually we had a meeting last week where we appointed our board of directors and elected our officers, and so we're getting going, and so it's an exciting time. It takes time, but we're excited for the future for the Elko Regional Airport.
That's fantastic. Speaking of fans, so wonderful news, Jan, and something we'll look forward to talking about in the new year. And then multi-million-dollar investment in local infrastructure. That really translates into prosperity and, growth in the future, but responsible growth with these projects.
Yes, absolutely. So, beginning in 2021, I believe it was. It's such a blur since COVID, I believe. But beginning in 2021, the city of Elko was allocated some ARPA funds, and the majority of those funds, approximately $18 million, were allocated to water projects and water infrastructure. And so some of the major programs or water projects that we have going right now are the hospital second source, which is obviously a second source of water to the hospital area and over there by the landfill. And then a water project on exit 298 which is a very exciting project for the city because it will help invest in commercial and industrial areas in our city by our third exit, right? Exit 298. So it's a great project, and that is going. And actually, I went on a tour of that yesterday. It was pretty exciting. And then there's a Elko mountain water line that we haven't started that project yet, but we will soon. And then the Era Cart Boulevard water line. So all four of those water infrastructure projects are really exciting. And then added on to the Exit 298 is the sewer line that we're also and that is not an ARPA project. That is funded by the City of Elko Sewer Fund. And so we'll have water and sewer service, full service at Exit 298.
Wow, and again, that represents multi-million-dollar investment, but will seed additional growth and just give us that security. I know I took a little drive over the weekend just because the weather was nice, but I kind of wanted to see people's Christmas decorations. It's inspiring. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and that North 5th Street area, I actually drove down Cattle Drive, and I'd not been there before, and there's so much growth up there.
Absolutely. There just is so much growth. You're right. Some of the development up North 5th Street is amazing. There's the new townhomes going up over by the Mountain View Park, overlooking the soccer fields, which is kind of a fun area. And then the copper trails kind of behind the church over there on the right-hand side of 5th Street. But there's so much growth going up on 5th Street. So which is a great area.
Yeah, it is. And so, and I just wanted to mention too, the Ericart Boulevard, which is near the hospital, for example. I love seeing Ericart in the agenda and on these projects. And I like to remind people Ericart Boulevard is named for former Elko City Councilwoman Barbara Ericart. And she was on the council in the 80s and 90s. And that's how long it takes sometimes to get these good projects done, Jan.
Absolutely. And that is such an important project. The city council reallocated some of the ARPA funds to make sure that we could do that Ericart Boulevard water line. It's going to be a very expensive project, and it will just take water from Lamoille Highway to the tank over there by the hospital on Ericart Boulevard. But it'll help. It's interesting. I've learned a lot about water lines and roads in the last little bit, but installing that water line on Ericart Boulevard will also help to create a road to that water tank as well. And so we won't get the road all the way to the Ericart Boulevard Bridge, but at least we're going to be about halfway. And so for the community as a whole, inside Elko and outside of Elko, that Ericart Boulevard is a very important project.
You're right, Jan. And all of these investments will inspire private investment, more development, and a lot of times developers see opportunity and they'll make that investment too and meet the city halfway.
Absolutely. And I think all of these projects, they weren't done specifically for development, but obviously development will occur because of these water projects and these roads. And so it's similar to, I would say, the Bergeron Estates development that's going on right now off of Jennings. We built the road to Jennings Way, and now the developer has taken it a little further, and that's a great development that's going on right now.
Yep, huge investment in taxes, and we may have some time to talk a little bit about how that funds future growth. So we're visiting with our city manager today, Jan Baum. Again, kudos to Dale Johnson and his department. Boy, are we lucky to have Dale. I mean, this next topic too, in water and our current water rates. There are cities that are underwater, if it's not too much of a pun, but because they get so deep into making repairs and trying to catch up with improvement. But we've been able to stay on top of this.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to join in the kudos to Dale. He has a lot going, and he's a great manager. He's been managing all of these infrastructure projects as well as the water and the WRF. And they have ongoing infrastructure projects as well that are not part of the ARPA. And so after the budget, we council directed staff to go out for a water survey. And we're in the middle of that right now. And so we're hoping in early 2024, that report we should be ready to present to council. And so the water rates are fairly low in our community, and what Dale is dealing with every day are repairs. And there are a lot of repairs that he does. There's a lot of water line breaks. I'm sure that there are many people in our community that have dealt with that before. And so keeping up with those repairs and the infrastructure to repair, permanently repair that takes a lot of money. And so that's why we are doing our water rate survey and see where we come in.
All right, something to look forward to in 2024. And just know, listeners, that when you do pay increased rates, it's because it's needed. It's not being stockpiled or socked away. It's being put directly into repairs and improvements, as you said. So
absolutely. And our community, we've had a water rate increase, but I believe it was about 2 years ago. And so we've been flat for a couple of years, and our budget has been showing that with a cash decrease. And so we need to make sure that we keep enough cash to cover depreciation in our funds, so that when there are unexpected breaks or we can fix that. So we need to make sure that we're solvent for the taxpayer.
And moving ahead with Jan Baum, our city manager, some of the exciting accomplishments in this year include the recreation center, a brand new swimming pool, and a rec center. And this has been at least a decade in the works. And so now it's on the verge of reality.
Oh, I can't wait for that ground to break. So you're right. In 2023, council made the decision to transfer some land to the Boys and Girls Club for the recreation center. And the recreation center, there's still a little confusion in the community, so it's always good to be talking about where it is and how it comes about. But the Boys and Girls Club will be constructing a new recreation center, and it will be right beside the area where the current pool is. And so that I've seen some presentations of the new rec center, and it will include a high school sized gym and a teen center, and of course an indoor pool and an outdoor pool. And so anyway, it'll be a great community asset for the Boys and Girls Club, but for all of our entire city, but also the community as a whole.
Yeah, it's something to really look forward to. The city, in addition to transferring the land, has agreed to make about a $400,000 a year contribution, but that goes directly to operations, and that's what the city was paying to operate the current pool. Yes,
exactly. So currently, obviously, the pools are very expensive to operate, and not only with labor and chemicals and all the supplies and heating the pool, and there's just a lot of expense that goes into having a pool. And the rates for using the pool obviously don't cover that. And so the city usually expends about $400,000 a year to keep the pool going. And so, yes, that's what we have committed to give to the Boys and Girls Club for keeping that pool, for the Boys and Girls Club to operate the pool.
And it will be open to all. It's not just about membership. Yep, it will be a community pool. So more on that coming up in 2024. Also, some exciting things, and this is a lot because of the passion and the diligence and just the all-around ingenuity of people who are behind Elko's Snow Bowl. We're just waiting for snow now.
Exactly. I really hope we get some snow because James Wiley, who is our director of the Parks and Rec Department, he's put a lot of work, as has his staff, into the Snow Bowl. We had some mechanical issues last year, and so he's put a lot of work into the Snow Bowl this year, and it's ready to go. We've had our safety training, and so I believe they already packed a little snow up there because of the couple inches they got up there, but hoping maybe this weekend they will get some accumulation, and then after the new year we can get that going.
Yep, looking forward to Snow Bowl in 2024. And building and development, we mentioned it just a little bit earlier in the program, Jan, but there's a lot happening construction-wise.
There really is. And I know that I've heard around town or whatever that residential building or sales have slowed a little, which makes sense with the current market rate environment or interest rate. But we are seeing some development, obviously what we already touched on with Bergeron Estates, and then up on 5th Street, and then the Bailey Homes out on Mountain City Highway. And then we've also seen some commercial development as well. Obviously everybody knows about the Temple. I don't believe it will be finished in 2024, but so that construction will continue in 2024. And then we have a big development going in with Sandvik, and they have committed a lot of money to our community and a huge construction project, and we're excited about that. And it is down on Silver Street by the Elko, City of Elko Police Department. And let's see, I have a couple things listed, and then some potential apartments on Sage Street, and of course the townhomes on North 5th. So yeah, we're keeping busy, and the city is busy, and that's the way we like to see it.
And we see those, the cute little townhomes will be going in on Ash Street. Koinonia, I think, is ready to break ground on that too, and they're doing that with Bailey Homes too, I think.
I am not sure of that, but I do know that they have been approved, and I've seen that at the Planning Commission, and I believe at the City Council as well, and that's a great little project. It'll be a really fun complex.
Yeah, that's great. And within walking distance to downtown, it's nice to see infill because that's being created on a current vacant piece of property. So
exactly. It'll be nice to see that piece of property developed.
Right there just off of 5th Street. And then moving on to something that makes a lot of this possible, as we suggested earlier, when the city invests in infrastructure and improvements, then you get private investment. At least that's the goal, and that's been happening with the redevelopment agency.
Yes, so the redevelopment agency, they have been in engineering most of the year for their sidewalk project between 4th and 5th on Commercial Street, and so that'll be an exciting project, and they have accumulated money for a couple years since they finished the block end project. So I'm hoping that they can begin construction on that project in 2024. It's an exciting project for them. And then of course they're continuing with their infrastructure and storefront grants, which help individual business owners in the downtown area.
And again, we want to thank Kathy Laughlin for her leadership in that department. Again, a terrific staff and people that she works with, but certainly she knows how to reach out to our local property owners and to encourage and incentivize the kind of cooperation and relationships we need. It's just made such a huge difference, especially in the historic properties in Elko.
Absolutely. Kathy has a lot of energy and, like you said, and a lot of knowledge about building and the RDA in the downtown area, and I think that her energy and positive outlook of these projects has really helped the RDA.
So Kathy, I hope you know how much we appreciate you, the Downtown Business Association, certainly the work with the RDA and everything that you do, because you're I don't know if she's a native, I don't know if she was born here, but it sure feels like it, and she invests a lot of that passion into the community. So it definitely shows.
Absolutely, I believe that as well.
And I thought before we we've got plenty of time. We're making good progress here. We could talk about the election in 2020. We're thinking all about the presidential election, but it's a local election as well.
Absolutely. I know we were just talking about that today in our directors meeting, and Kelly Wooldridge, our city clerk, was saying that she will bring the resolution for the election to the city council, the first meeting in January, which is January 9th. And yes, it's an election year. Here we go. And the city of Elko has 2 city council openings this year. Mandy Simons actually is terming out, and then Clair Morris is up for reelection as well. And she wanted me to mention that the election opens, you can file to run for city council on March 4th through the 16th.
All right, so that is coming right up. You're going to catch a breath after the holidays, and then it's going to be time to start thinking local politics. And again, Mandy Simons has served her 3 terms as councilwoman, and now she'll be outgoing as a vice mayor. And again, terrific accomplishments, Mandy, and done all of this beautifully while being, a full-time mom and investing in the community and supporting all the great things that her husband, Mason, does as well as a district court judge. So she has definitely done a lot of heavy lifting, and I'm sure she's going to stay active.
I hope so,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I enjoy her perspective and her input, so she'll be missed.
Yes, definitely. So hopefully she'll help us inspire and encourage someone to step up to run for that position. Former retired police chief, Clair Morris, I believe this is his first term. So
yes, this was his first term, so hoping that he runs again.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him about that yet, but we'll see.
Yep, I'm going to be calling and texting Clair Morris to say, what are you going to do in 2024? I hope he throws his hat in as well. It seems like he's enjoying himself. I saw him at the Great Basin Child Advocacy Center opening, and I think he was really moved by that project, and I think he still has a lot of energy left and wants to serve, but we'll let him tell us.
Yes, absolutely, and you're right, and that's actually a project that is not on this list, and I know it's an Elko County project, but the Child Advocacy Center, there were so many partners within the city and the community and the county that put forth, and actually surrounding counties, that facility will service so many counties, and I'm hoping children, and what a great asset to our community, and just kudos to Tyler Ingram for taking charge on that.
Absolutely, and I know his dedicated staff and Tanya Yell, and I shouldn't start naming people, but
Right.
It's one of those projects, Jan, that absolutely it's a reflection of love and care and commitment. We wish we didn't need it, but it's going to make a huge difference in the quality of life going forward.
Absolutely.
So glad that we mentioned that. Oh, one more thing, and I should know this by now, but I believe that city council seats, I do know they are nonpartisan, and are they open or are they specific to any districts?
They're open.
That's what I
believe
thought.
They're open.
I thought so too. I know the county's specific to a district and they are partisan, but city council's wide open. So if you're a city resident,
Yes.
and that means not a business owner,
Yes, I believe you have to be a city resident.
right, not just have a business located in the city. I know that's created some confusion in the past. So, but we'll talk more about that. And I did want to mention too, Kelly had said on this very program that she intends to retire. Is that still her plan?
She does, and she will be retiring the 1st of May. And so that will be a position that will be open in early 2024, and we will miss her terribly. But, good for her. And I hope she enjoys it, and I think she has a new grandbaby on the way, so that'll be really wonderful for her and a great life change for her.
Absolutely. Anytime you get promoted to grandma, that is
Right?
that is a promotion to celebrate. So we'll wish Kelly all the best. We have plenty of time to talk with her going forward, and I'm sure she will help encourage whoever her replacement is. And thank goodness she's not leaving before we get this municipal election underway. So,
Absolutely. And she has some big projects that she's working on with the code and some things before she leaves that she wants to get tidied up. So I'm glad that we have a little time with her as well.
Well, and I'm glad that we have time in this radio program too, Jan, to really sing your praises and to talk about finance, because we have the good fortune in our city manager, Jan. Previously you were, and I believe, was it Financial Services Director? Was that the title?
Yes, that was it.
Yes, yes. So this woman knows budgeting, and we are so fortunate for that, because all of that vision, all of that foresight has gone into what we're talking about today, and still the list of things yet to come.
There are a lot of things to come. You're right.
Yes, but
Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. We manage a tight ship. I say we, but we're stewards. Anybody who participates in city government, if you help vote, elect representatives, but you are the one with your eye on the numbers, and we're in good financial shape.
We are in good financial shape, and some of it is driven from the changes through COVID-19, but I think sometimes some of the hardest times are to manage through increases. So things are leveling out, and you're right, the city of Elko runs a tight ship. Everybody works really hard, and we all wear a lot of hats, and we get a lot done. And so we just have an amazing team at the city.
Now, there are various sources of revenue in the city, and I don't want to do too deep of a dive just in the interest of time, but I think people would appreciate your perspective. The majority of our revenue comes from what everybody should be paying, the sales and use tax, from construction to just small occasional purchases to liquor sales. I mean, it all goes into a sales and use tax.
Yes, you're right. A little over 60% of our budget is from sales tax, and so obviously, if sales tax fluctuates, it definitely impacts our budget. And we budgeted a little bit. For a little bit of an increase in sales tax, and it's a little flat so far this year, but sales tax comes in from the state. It's all collected by the state, and the city of Elko gets it about 2 months in arrears. And so I believe we have it through September, September as of now. And anyway, it's pretty flat from last year, which is great. We had a great year last year, and so we'll be happy with maintaining that course.
And I think I wanted to plug here too that we have such a great consortium of local vehicle dealerships, Jan, because an important consideration when you buy those big ticket items, if you can shop locally, that really does make a difference in the bottom line, because You do pay state sales tax no matter what, but if you go out of state, then it goes into the state coffer, not the local coffer.
Right. It's usually sales tax usually lands where the product lands. So if you do go out of town to buy those big ticket items, then the sales tax stays in that community. And you're right. Always shop local. It's great, and we have some great local auto dealership owners who contribute to our communities as well. It isn't always the sales tax. It's also their other contributions to our community.
And then, Jan, we're also hearing a lot going into 2024. We know the Gold Rush Mine project was approved, but it's situated. The mine facility is in Lander in Eureka County. And so that means the net proceeds, those counties will get a slice, but it doesn't come to the county or the city.
Correct. Yes, most of our mines are located in Eureka and Lander County, and so the net proceeds mines tax does stay in those counties. And, it's something that's talked about a lot because we usually house the people who work at those mines. And so they do purchase their homes in our communities, which is great. And the city benefits, as does the county, from the property tax. And if they shop local in our city, we also benefit from that. But the city of Elko doesn't get any really net proceeds of mines tax.
Yep, that's an important consideration. There is also a nice offset in that previously, I believe it was Newmont, or when they created a logistics center for receiving goods, because these are high dollar items, so they generate a lot of sales tax, Jan. I believe Nevada Gold Mines continue the tradition of having logistics located within the city?
Yes, I believe they are in the old CAT building, and they are keeping that logistics in the city. And then, of course, I always have to sing praises to Komatsu for locating their major building and distribution center in the city of Elko as well.
Yeah, and again, it's not about being selfish with resources. It's just about the reality of allocation because, as you mentioned, many of the mining employees do situate within the city limits. And so, police and fire services, certainly there are some taxes that spin off that go to schools, but it does help the city to provide a lot of regional services, and we should have some time to talk about that too. Probably the short stick is in Spring Creek, where they're not a municipality. They do have a population that almost rivals the city of Elko, Jan, but they don't have a tax base like that.
Right, yes, they don't have an organized tax base like that, and they do have their monthly association dues, but I don't think it comes to anything near what we have. But they also don't have a fire department specifically for the association or a police department. The county takes care of both of that. But you're right; they have a large population out there.
Yeah, and they are certainly doing everything they can to improve their relationship with the county, and I think it has come quite far in the last decade or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot more reciprocation when it comes to that. So I think we kind of covered, again, there are numerous municipal services. They're tax supported. They are within budget, maybe with the exception of the airport, but that's always been a bit of a struggle, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah. And we used to receive a lot more landing fees and passenger facility charges, but with just having one plane, some of those fees have decreased. But so far, the airport is doing pretty well, and most airports, I would say probably all airports, received money from the different infrastructure bills and COVID-19. So. Anyway, yeah, and in 2024, the airport will have, we're hoping, will construct their ramp project, which will be a very large, it'll be over $7 million. And so, but it's a project that really needs to be done. I believe the last time that it was done, it was over 20 years ago, and that cement needs to be replaced. So
we're
excited for that project to get done.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been over 20 years since the apron was done, but that is absolutely right.
Time flies.
Yep. And then just the last mention is that the city does have at least 5, I think, enterprise funds, and those were created to avoid deficit if possible. And those might be like the landfill, the golf course. You know the whole list.
Oh, that's okay. The landfill. Now I'm on the hook, so I got to remember. But yes, the landfill, the golf course, the water fund, the sewer fund. And the airport.
Yes, and and that means hopefully the fees that people pay to use those services will offset the cost to just residents, taxpayers within the city. So
yes, absolutely. And speaking of the enterprise funds, I would like to mention that we had a great year at the golf course. Brought in a new concessionaire. It was called the Club at Ruby View, and I think the restaurant went really well this year. It seemed like every time I was up there were people up there and enjoying it. And then we had Rick Longhurst as the golf professional, and there were a lot of people in the community that were excited to see Rick back. He's just a really good person, and so the golf course had a great year as well.
That's wonderful news, Jan. The proof is in the pudding, and that means it's in the cash register. So that's great. Good to know that was turned around quite a bit. And I think that kind of, that brings us to the fact that, I wanted to say, because you mentioned, or we touched on the county, the club. So the city and the county are also working together a lot more closely, right, Jan? And that's really a healthy collaboration.
Yes, I think so as well. Obviously, what each one of us do impacts the other, and so it works. I think that we both have different points of views, but at the same time, working together, I think is probably the best for all residents of our community.
Yep, Elko city residents are also county residents, and so we're taxed. Just
absolutely.
like that. Yeah, we pay city taxes and then county taxes as well. So even though it's fair to add that I'm sure your surveys are indicating that, we are among the lowest tax residents in the state, and we like to keep it that way if possible.
That would be good. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Well, of all the topics we got to today, and I know we left some on the table, but I want to make sure, Jan, there'll be a good list to come back with in the new year too. But
absolutely.
But anything we didn't mention that you want to make sure we bring up today? Well,
I always want to mention our open positions. And so currently, again, I just want to mention, reiterate that we have a great team at the city, and we have some great department heads, some directors, managers, and I'm not going to name them because I'll miss somebody and I'll feel terrible, but we just have a really great City of Elko team, and currently we're hiring a firefighter, and those very seldom come about, so definitely want to mention that. And then patrol officers, we have a few openings for some patrol officers. A big opening we have is a civil engineer that, again, hasn't been open for many years. And then a facility maintenance technician, and then an equipment operator at the street department. So I wanted to mention all of those. And anyway, we'd be happy for people to apply to be part of our team.
So if you're awesome, go to elkocity.com.
Absolutely.
I love seeing that logo on this flashing sign there at the airport. If you're awesome, we're hiring. And then I guess one last plug for Poncho Claus.
Oh, yes. Poncho Claus will be at the airport tonight, I believe around 5 to 7 anyway. So Poncho Claus is coming with his burros, I believe. And so that'll be just a really fun event at the airport. So if anybody's interested, please join us at the airport this evening for Poncho Claus. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is there is not another meeting in December. There's not another council meeting because that would have been the 26th of December, and council decided to cancel that meeting. And so our first meeting will be January 9th.
All right, so use a little time to kind of regroup and get some rest, relax if you can, spend some time with your family. Congratulations to Lexi, your beautiful graduate.
Oh, thank you. You're right, though. Spend time with your family, relax, and enjoy the holidays. That's what it's about.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today. A very special program, a recap, and then a look ahead to all the wonderful things that we have to look forward to in the city of Elko. Thank you for joining us for today's Elko Live program.